to the First Media Consulting Podcast, The Business Chronicles, where we dive deep into the stories of successful business owners. Here's your host, Didi and Nicholas. Thanks for joining today. Let's talk.
Welcome, everybody, to our podcast. My name is Didi A. Nicholas. I'm your host, and I am so excited to introduce to you Miss Lisa. She's with UR Learning Solution, LLC. She's the owner, and we have got a good show here for you guys. And we're actually going to start off and first say hi to each other.
Hi, how are you? Good, how are you?
I'm doing awesome. Thanks for asking. We are got so many things going on. We're juggling so many hats, in our daily lives. And, as a business owner, you could probably relate to what I'm saying. But I think it's important that we share with our listeners, let them know a little bit about what you do, because you are doing some great things in terms of giving back and helping students and in your audience or your customers, I would say, about what you do. So if you can kind of go into that and tell us a little bit about your business.
Yeah, so it's with Your Learning Solution, we provide tutoring and educational services. People always think, tutoring, oh, great, that's extra support for the kids. We definitely want to give extra support for the kids, but we do it differently. We engage the kids. We want to make it fun. When the students are having fun, they don't realize they're learning. So we always want to, I pride myself in saying we always want to go ahead and do something out of the box. And that's what we do. We provide educational services. We have so many families from different countries, different states. Florida is different in the education system. Sometimes they don't understand some of the verbiage or the lingo or the testing. So we help the families go through that and explain the differences, from their state that they're coming from, whether it's Hawaii, California, Washington, New York, Georgia, right next door, because the standards are different in Florida.
Right.
But yeah, you're right. I absolutely love giving back to the community, the schools, the students, because that's our future.
Yeah, and I've known you for quite some time now, and I know, you're training all across the board, correct? What are some of the things you kind of dive into?
Well, we have, your basic math, reading comprehension, phonics for the little ones when they're first starting school. I mean, we just started school this week. So I think I want to say about 5 kindergartners already. We're starting with the foundations, which is you have to have your foundations at the very beginning. But we also do test prep. The high schoolers, SAT, ACT, but we don't stop there. We go into sciences. I've even had adults come to me, the military, the ASVAB test, border patrol test, nursing test. A lot of the testing that people do has math in it. And let's face it, the older we get more nervous because we think math is going to be so complicated.
Right.
And they get nervous. I mean, it's a natural feeling to get nervous before you take any test. GRE, going back to college, it's nerve-wracking, but when you think of, oh my God, math, what kind of math questions? I haven't done it in so long, you don't use it, you lose it type of thing. So we like to go ahead and make sure we refresh the brain a little bit and teach them, what they need to know before they go into their testing.
Wow, that's very good information to know. And if you don't mind sharing with our listeners, what motivated you to get into this business?
So I actually used to run a college. So I saw the end result, students coming in either as adults or right out of high school, and they didn't know their basic math. Wow. And that's a problem. I mean, your basic algebra, you're adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, that was an issue. And so I remember asking some of my math teachers, and I've taught myself, hey, can we stay longer? And these are the students that need to refresh themselves because in life, everything is a building block, especially with your academics. I always compare it to crawling and walking. When you're learning and growing up, you have to know how to crawl. You have your balance. Now you're walking. You have to know how to walk before you run. You can know your equilibrium. You know how to, pace yourself. It's the same thing with your academics. So when I saw that was needed, I said, no, I need to make a difference before they get to this point. before they get to the college stage.
And I think, and sorry to interrupt you, but I think you found a niche. You found a need. You because you worked in that space, you
Mhm.
saw that there was a need, and you developed a business based on that need. And I
Yes.
think it's so important. When you are starting a business, you gotta fill that gap.
Yes, yes. And when you're younger, you soak things up like a sponge. As we get older, we're set in our ways as to
Hmm.
how we learn. So it's easier to learn different things when you're younger. Just like learning a different language. It's easier when you're younger. You pick it up faster. You may not be grammatically correct, but you know what the words mean.
Right.
So yeah.
Well, can you tell us about, every business, every industry has some kind of myths or misconceptions. Are there anything that really kind of stands out that you want to share with our listeners?
Myths. I mean, there's so many now. I now have to narrow down.
Yeah.
I can tell you, for example, when you're in high school, the SAT, ACT,
Right.
you take that, more for college entrance. Down here in Florida, they want to take it more for the bright futures. Everybody thinks it's, everything that you've learned. And, if you don't know it, oh, it's too bad. That's not true. And that's one of the reasons why we do the test prep. There's so many different strategies that you can utilize, different concepts that may have gone over their head. But you can definitely prepare for the SAT, even though it's years and years of learning. But there's nothing wrong with getting a refresher and then practicing. I always say practice makes progress. I don't like the phrase practice makes perfect, but
Right.
practice definitely makes progress. So when someone knows what they're doing and they're practicing the correct way, they're definitely going to improve from what they started. If you're practicing the wrong way because you've never learned it the correct way, you're thinking you're doing the correct way. If no one is telling you that's wrong, you're going to keep doing the same mistake as an adult,
Right.
So
Well,
yes.
that's very well stated. So, we're all busy, and I always say this on pretty much when we talk. What are some of the things you like to do for fun outside of what you do for your business?
Well, I have dogs. I'm a big dog lover. So you'll find me sometimes at home playing with my dogs. I love dancing. I used to dance. I used to be in the little dance competitions when I was younger. So sometimes you'll find me in the house cleaning and dancing.
Well, that's not a bad thing.
I do like music. I'm always jamming back to my era.
And you know what? To be honest, when you're dancing, it's actually good exercise.
Yes, it is. It is.
So that's awesome.
And I'm definitely a foodie. I love to try different foods from different cultures. I'm definitely a foodie.
I think a lot of people love food, right? That's one thing. And to experience different foods too is just, it's kind of rewarding in itself, right?
Yes.
So as we get ready to wrap up here, what is one thing that you want to leave our listeners with about your business?
So I know students think it's torture coming to tutoring.
Mm-hmm.
You give me 2 weeks, they will not think it's torture. Everyone can learn, regardless if they're on the spectrum, regardless if they have ADD. Everyone can learn. It's just the way and the environment that they're learning. And so I would tell your listeners, definitely, there's always hope. It's just the matter of how your child is learning. They can definitely learn.
Wow. Awesome. So what is the best way for our listeners to get a hold of you? If you can provide your phone number as well as your website.
Yes. So you can leave a message at 407-658-7575. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram at Your Learning Solution, and Your is spelled UR. All the kids get it. The parents are like, but it's UR Learning Solution. And my website, www.yourlearningsolution.com.
Well, Lisa, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us here on our podcast. And, we look forward to having you back again in the near future.
Awesome. Good seeing you again.
You as well.
Thank you for tuning in to First Media Consulting Podcast. If you enjoyed the podcast, subscribe today. To nominate a business you would like to recommend to be on our show, go to firstmediaconsulting.com or call. Thank you for listening.